Times were tough, so I sold my soul. And I don't think I'll ever regain control. Devil looked me in the eye, now I look the other way. What else could I do? I just stared at the doorway, knew I'd rather be drunk with you. I'd rather be drunk.
Hey Internet, Dracofunk here. Welcome back to the 100 subscriber special, episode 36, where I continue to drive towards the South Pole. And we are on our way. And I can tell you it's going to be a little bit slow going, as the terrain here is not exactly flat, but that's just what we'll have to deal with. So, we are on our way, kind of heading south. There are 2 more mountain ranges to get past before we get to the ice sheet. But I can tell you this, that it is getting spectacularly close. But before I can get to the first mountain range, I have to get around this lake. And there is a little bit of a path I found to go kind of between the lakes. But I'm a little bit concerned with how that's going to look. And getting there is going to be a little bit tricky. But that's okay. As long as I don't, completely crash or something. Some video in the background went off. Okay. So yeah, the terrain here, as you can see, is very hilly. And that can cause problems. And I don't want to get too close to the lake. I did at one point consider using the boat pieces to drive across the lake, but I determined that that would take a very long time, and finding a way into the water and out of the water would be difficult. Sorry about that. This time of year, my throat gets a little bit, how do I say? I'm having drainage, and I don't want that to come through in the recording. So, I say so a lot. I need to make a note of that. Anyway, I keep popping out to make sure I'm on course for that little passage kind of between the lakes. And the more I look at it, the more difficult all the terrain, around this part of Kerbin, seems. And I know I flew the scout plane over here to try and judge it, but it just doesn't look good. But I'm just gonna have to deal with it. Whoa, my speed is getting really high right now. probably should be keeping an eye on that. I don't want to get going too fast and, well, you know. The real danger is when you go down and then end up coming back up. Yeah, that whole area, like around between the two lakes that I'm heading directly to, just is looking more and more treacherous. So that's going to be fun. I haven't really, for the most part, I've kind of avoided like the worst parts of Kerbin, and this vehicle seems very, it's been very stable, at least in the one direction. But now this, like this part of Kerbin, this might be a little more trying. I'm going to have to choose my path very carefully. And even once I get beyond this, once I get beyond this one section, it looks like it might be a little better. I'm really not sure which direction I should be heading. So I think what I'm going to do is head to the top. And go around okay, which way do I want to go around this lake? I think I had intended to go between them, but I think I'm going to try and go around. So that'll be, yeah, I just need to look around for a second. So I'm just going to go down and actually go down into this part of the lake. This might be a mistake. You can see I'm kind of hitting the brakes a lot on the way down because I don't want to get going too fast and then hit the bottom, and that's when I'll have problems. So I did it again. Well, see, this part isn't too bad, but now I'm going to have to get back up. The good news is I'm not running out of battery yet. Doesn't seem too bad throughout here. but there's a lot of ups and downs. And I really... On this drive, like, occasionally, you know, it's kind of boring, just keep watching where you're going and, you know, just hitting W and occasionally D and some B for the brakes, maybe a little A. But this time I'm having almost to keep two hands on the keyboard the entire time to just have one finger on the brakes and keep myself from having an accident and occasionally popping back out to see where I'm heading. Here we're going at normal speed. So normally we've been at 4 times speed just because otherwise this would be an hour-long video. And, you know, I don't want to talk for an hour. But there is a reason I slowed it down here, because as I was driving, like through this section, I came over this hill and right there. So let's look at the damage. So I have the front docking port has been destroyed. That seems to be the only damage, though. So now I'm past the lakes. So I think I can continue on. Although, if you'll notice, looking at the nav ball, I was using that docking port as my control point, so I stayed pointing in the correct direction. And I had to switch to make sure the docking, or my control point, is pointing in the right direction, and I'm not driving. At least I can use the nav ball to drive correctly and navigate to my target, which is the scouting aircraft. So we're back at the 4 times video sped up. Hopefully we can keep that going for the rest of this journey. Now that is technically the second accident we had. The last, well, third, because I did have an accident almost identical to that, only it was a little bit worse. I actually lost the wheels, and I tried driving a little bit, and then the whole front unit flew off. Luckily, no Kerbals were killed in that accident, and I had to fly a whole new front unit from the Kerbal Space Center out, and that nearly ended in disaster when the aircraft also crash-landed, but the pilots were safe, and the new front locomotive unit was also undamaged, so we were able to drive it over and attach it to the front of this Rover train and continue on the journey with the pilot and co-pilot from that craft are now also on board this Rover train. And everybody will eventually, hopefully, make it to the South Pole, where there is a nice, warm place for them to stay and relax and get out of this vehicle that they have been on for far, far too long. But hey, if you're watching this and you like old sci-fi movies, you should go check out our video of Unknown World with commentary by myself and Vomit. Or check out some of our other public domain movies, such as Bride of the Gorilla, The Man with Secret Kung Fu, our very first public domain movie we did many years ago with me and Shaggy B, Santa Claus Conquers the Martians, as it is almost that time of year. Or The Wasp Woman, which I was not part of that, but it was something that we watched on this channel. I was outspoken for during that evening when we recorded. But that happens. But hey, if you've been watching this has been our 100 subscriber special. And I'm going to continue driving to the South Pole. But hey, we're almost at 140 subscribers now. So I guess I should issue a challenge, but I will think of something at a later time. But for now, thanks for watching. Like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.